The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, squeezably soft host. Once more, we go into the breach, dear friends. As we start off this show, let's take a quick look at the indexes. We're up about 3 points on the S&P cash, about 2.25 billion shares on the New York Stock Exchange consolidated tape. And pretty much what I was looking for. I don't think we are going down, but at the same time, I don't think we are going up. I have no index positions, but I do have one that we picked up on Friday that's up 20% today in the newsletter, so I'm happy about that. But as many people in the den said, they're out there bottom fishing, and I couldn't say it any better than that. That is, man, you got to be picking your positions very carefully, probably this whole week. Of course, fund buying actually should be starting sometime around now. Kind of going to hold this market up at least for a few days. One of the problems I see, and we'll get into it with the charts, is there are many charts out there that probably should have seen stocks roll over very hard today. They did not, and could have seen them start to roll over on Friday too, and they did not. I suspect that at worst, we're going sideways for 3 days. At best, we're burning off the overbought energy. I still think that we've got maybe a market that could go higher for a while. I have been among the most bearish. In fact, I played a bear in a big movie that was out lately. You may have seen it. I ripped a fine actor to shreds. Anyway, my part as the remnant bear, notwithstanding, no Academy Award did I get either. I noticed that last night. Nothing for the bear. We're always slighted. But I don't think we're probably moving in any of the big stocks to really talk about either. But I do think there's a sector in this market that has a lot of room to run, and boy, is it today. Boy and his dog. Well, I was in that movie. That's true. If you ever can find it somewhere, 1975, with none other than the first movie role for Don Johnson. Wow, very, very real looking. Yes, I know. I didn't shave that day, and that's all it took for me to become the bear. What else can you say? I guess if I'm really feeling bearish, I'll watch that movie of the guy that thought he could talk to bears and be nice to them. That's one of the funniest movies of all time, I think. They're just big, big bears. Until the guy got eaten at the end of the movie. But a great movie. I do like the fact that the movie about Amy Weinstein got an Academy Award. If you like documentaries, which I'm kind of leaning to more and more these days because the movies don't have much of a script, I'm really starting to like a lot of those much better than the stuff coming out of Hollywood, just because, my God, I just don't think many of them have a new idea to speak of. But there were a few good things. I liked, when I saw it, I loved the Road Warrior movie, but was there a whole lot in there? Was there any great script? No, it was a fine movie, but did it deserve 6 Oscars? Maybe 2. It was it's a great movie if you could throw everything at it and all that kind of money, but it just didn't add a whole lot to me. So I'm kind of, I think it was kind of an off year. And of course, the Academy Awards had their lowest viewership in 7 years. I think I saw it today. I kind of briefly got in and out of it as I was going through charts last night. Had it on in the background, and I don't really think I missed anything. But of course, was used to working with those people out there in Hollywood, and know that they are at best a delusional bunch. I couldn't almost think of the horrible irony of a group of people that basically praised a pedophile a couple of years ago, and then, of course, praised a movie about pedophiles last night. So talk about the irony of Hollywood. It just never will actually ever. I guess I can't be amazed anymore. I'm so jaded by a handful of people that really make decisions of what we're going to see in movies. But I do digress. Of course, we meet every day in this time between 2 and 3.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
It does between 2 and 3 p.m. Oh, someone had to add that in. They messed it up on Friday. At least they got it right today.
That it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
There is nothing new under the sun, although there is a lot of propaganda. One of the movies last night that was supposed to be the best of the year was about a famous figure in the what they called the Red Scare. But on this day in 1952, Owen Lattimore, one of the more famous figures of the Red Scare during the 50s, testified for a Senate subcommittee that he may have made inaccurate statements about his previous testimony. Lattimore's admission resulted in him being charged with perjury and years of legal wrangling. Of course, a lot of people said, well, you know, they were just going out of these people because they had stupid political beliefs, i.e. that communism and socialism weren't good. Oh, by the way, did you notice this weekend that there is no bread in the entire country of Venezuela? Yeah, that's great. Socialism always shows its main features after a little bit of time. But what we do have, of course, in this issue here was the ongoing case of Alger Hiss. And why nobody wants to really talk about it, most of these guys we now know because about mid-1995, 96, 97, and 98, the Kremlin's archive was opened up. And what did we find? Yes, most of these guys, including Alger Hiss, were commie spies for the Soviets. So when everybody gets all up and mighty about the Red Scare, were there a couple people that kind of got tarred with a big brush? The answer is yes. Were a lot of people that probably should have been shot as spies? A whole lot of them, and we know that. But, of course, no one wanted to bring that back up in the late 90s. They wanted to live with the idea that, of course, all these guys were just clean as the driven snow. But we found out Lattimore, Alger Hiss, many of those others were not only taking money, but perks and deep involved in trying to turn out more spies for the Soviets deep in the Cold War. But a lot of people just want to, maybe it'll go away. Facts are stubborn.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And they're talking about the I keep on wanting to call the movie the Remnants, like it's a piece of carpet that got cut off. It's such a hard name. I would have picked a better name, but I questioned it in about what does that actually mean, and it's someone that comes back from the dead to get revenge. But of course, the problem with that movie for me was the blinking thing. That's kind of like asking somebody, okay, you want to live or you want to die? And if you want to die, just blink. But if you don't, just keep your eyes open. I'll wait a few minutes. I'll wait an hour if it's necessary. But anytime during the next hour, if you blink, I know you probably don't want to live. That was the only. It was a pretty good movie, other than that little part. I think if I would have watched it before it came out, I would have told them to fix that one little tiny piece and not make it ambiguous, because it was kind of tough to actually figure out what was going on. I sometimes movies that are ambiguous are kind of interesting, and sometimes they're troublesome. And that was the one flaw in that movie, other than some other things. Pretty minor. We're off 1 point on the S&P cash. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648. And, of course, when news breaks here at TFNN, I'm here to fix it. A couple of articles over the weekend. One of them really talked about how many companies China actually tried to buy over here in the United States last year. Normally, there's about 15 or 20 over the last 10 years of companies trying to be bought by China. Last week, the company in China was trying to actually put together a deal for Western Digital to buy SanDisk. That deal's kind of blown up. There's only one real person that can put the kibosh on these deals, and it is the President of the United States. But what's interesting is that we see about 20, maybe 10 or 20 of these companies for the last 10 years. Then last year, some 240 of these companies that China wanted to buy here in the United States, and the president put the kibosh on almost all of them, which may give you a good idea. If you see a stock that looks like it's bouncing and everybody's telling you it's because China's buying it, Might be a good idea to start fading that bounce. It looks like the president is more than willing to put the kibosh on China buying any more companies. But the numbers coming out of the amount of companies that China wanted to buy and the amount of deals that they were going to let through was, I think, it was more typical. It was like 20 or 25 companies. But a very interesting article about just how many companies China was trying to buy, and maybe very, very good on the idea of Chinese trying to get their cash out of their own country. Of course, it was down 3% last night, but not really feeling a lot of that other than we're down 3 points on the S&P cash. So not much happening there. Apple was moving up a little bit earlier today. Did I have a quote on that? It's on my list. Amazon. I got so many these days. Let's take a quick, let me just type it in here. Apple's up, let's call it 35 cents. They were up to $98.23. I think a lot of people thought that Apple's big day in the sun with their new product event showing off a few new products would be in next week. And I think Apple started to kind of start moving on that over the last few days. What we did find out is that the product event now will be the week of March 21st. So if everybody's trying to buy into it, into the announcement, they get started at about 10 days too early. Normally they hold these things on Tuesday, so that would probably be, what, the 22nd? Is that right? So you may put that on your schedule because, of course, everybody will be talking it up. It hadn't done a great deal for Apple so far, and maybe getting started a little bit early, a week early, may put the kibosh on the Apple push higher that normally you get into these kind of things. But at the same time, it's not, you don't see Apple normally tank on these, but we'll have to see what they are doing. Many people over the last few days in Apple's territory around its brand new facility, a lot of people are calling it a space ship because it's a big round thing, kind of with a big round park in the center of it. But a lot of noise is going on late at night, over the weekend, sounding like automobiles and people working on them and doing things with them. And we might hear a little bit more about that during this product event. I don't think that they'll ever make automobiles too low of a margin, but I think they are working with manufacturers to be able to sell things that go in your dash, maybe be able to pull out the OEM thing that comes from BMW or Cadillac or Chevrolet and put back in Apple's version of an iPad in the center of the dash, much like Tesla has already. It is a mad market. I wanted to get to charts fairly early today, so maybe we've got a chance to do that and look at some of the stocks that I'd been looking at. So let's get to them here and start taking a look at it. Hopefully, there we go. I was looking at a few of these, Acadia, not all that exciting. Let's get to some of these others that are. Looking at a few of these stocks bouncing off the lows with light volume. Not a lot going on here. I think Broadsoft was kind of interesting out here. This one had done a 50% retracement, but bouncing today with some fairly extensive volume. So fairly unexpected if you looked at the charts. 2 days of dojis, Thursday and Friday. Fairly light volume, not a lot. Kind of a decent volume out here today. Let's take a look at the headline on this one real quick. And again, you can call me at 877-927-6648. Email me at path@tfnn.com. And, of course, they had earnings today. Before the earnings. Guess it just is. I didn't see anything out here that really stuck out other than their earnings were okay. That's about it. I don't see a great deal else. Broadsoft. Okay. I wanted to see else a few of these other ones out here. Chimerix. This one's been bouncing along lows, but didn't do anything today. EV Energy Partners. Some of these are actually starting to have fairly light volume lows. Little volume on EV Energy Partners out here today, but some of these things down at the dollar level, as we said, might be interesting. It might be time to do a little bit of bottom fishing. Not enough volume out of this one just yet, but fairly interesting. Give me a call, email me, post a message in the den. We'll be back in a minute.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're back. Federal Signal came out with earnings this morning. It's not a high volume stock, but I thought it very interesting because they sell a great deal of vehicles like street cleaning equipment and trucks to the government, both state, federal, local. But fairly horrible earnings out here, blowing apart its previous lows going back to August 24th. And if we look at bigger ones, this thing's kind of been in a downtrend out here and kind of very interesting. Heavy volume down today, though. What else do we have out here? LNG Partners, I was kind of interesting to see how this one would come back into its retracement. This thing has done and gone back up to the 618, which would have been $16.02. Got to $15.60 today, but kind of long in the tooth. Not a lot of energy in these LNG stocks, even though they can to are tending to continue to move up. You know, we've got some very minor bounces out here off of lows with lighter volume. This Halyard Health Company, HYH, was kind of interesting to me. I've been watching it. It gapped down today. January 20th, almost 1 million shares, 950,000. Got into it, did pierce it, did close back into the trading range with 350,000 shares. Has kind of gone up on very light volume, but your gap down today pretty much shows you get at least one more test of the low in some of these down here at the lows. There's a reason why they're at the lows. Another one that's gapped down today that I thought was interesting was one that kind of has been bouncing against this gap down day. That's Horizon Pharma, HZNP. This thing gapped down with 3.8 million shares. I was very interesting to see how this thing, because it kind of touched the gap down on Friday with 5.2 million shares. So you're thinking, maybe this thing's going to go back into that gap a little bit more. But a heavy volume down day on this with 12 million shares already. And that's why a lot of these markets are so dangerous in these stocks and trying to figure out what they're going to do. What else do we have? There were a few more in here I wanted to look at. Then we'll get into the movers of the day. Intrepid Potash, I thought was kind of interesting. Huge volume day out here. Keep on thinking that maybe these things have bottomed, but have not. IPI, boy, have the mighty have fallen. Down on monstrous volume, 900,000 shares today. Excuse me, 900,000. Down on 11 million shares today. And, you know, it'd been kind of bouncing around with lower volume or lighter volume, but not light enough. It didn't really like come back 50%. Just continued bouncing down. And this is where when James Wyckoff talked about jumping the creek and breaking through ice, these comments of that happened. This thing had been down there fairly low. But coming with the planting season, and Andy was talking about, I'm wondering if these companies are destined to stay in business. The lumber liquidators came out lower than expected earnings. Did gap down a little, but probably the more interesting part is it did it with volume. You had 4 days of this thing, or 5 days of this thing, basically going sideways, just under $11. Down today, the volume has picked up. It is through the January 20th low out here. And again, everybody keeps on thinking that this thing is going to have the worst in for it and done already. This gap down on the 22nd of February had almost 10 million shares, and it never, ever even started to recover. A lot of them will get back in the gap, start making an ABC down. It didn't even have that kind of energy. I mean, you're below all the lows. I don't know what else you can say about lumber liquidators other than look out below. Another one that had kind of an interesting reversal, I was looking at this one for its retrace. It did hit the 618, which is about $3.79. A little company called Meet Me had kind of a nice bounce off the lows. If you actually look at this, let's get it here cleaned up a little bit. Yeah, $3.79 was the 618 retracement on this. So it went, what, 2 cents above it this morning and then turned down hard. So you've got to watch some of these. They, even though the index haven't been moving that hard, a lot of these stocks have been moving rather hard individually. We're off 4 points on the S&P cash with 2.5 billion shares. And let me check my email real quick. I do have an email. Oh, HZNP got a subpoena. Thank you very much. Didn't have time to check the news on all of these. Magellan Health was very interested in this one. It is up testing its previous high. Last time up in this price range was December 31st with, is that what, 150,000 shares. Today, what do we have? 220,000 shares. So it's a lighter volume stock, but some nice movement back up here, but certainly not a breakthrough of that December 31st high. So I'm going to be watching this in the health sector as one of the ones getting on. What else do we have in my list of stuff today? A lot of these, just seeing that not a lot going on out here other than a lot of gap downs on a handful of these stocks. Novax, a lot of these things are just headed back down. I think Taser was on my list of big stocks moving, and this one did gap up. Interestingly enough, this is one where it had a fairly clean confluence level. If you were long this thing for an ABC, you would have been pretty close. $20.11 to $21.54 had very good confluence. We got to $20.69 on earnings this morning. Huge volume of 5.9 million shares. So a sign of strength on a kind of a average nothing day so far in the broader markets. But every time one's a little gappy one, everybody and their dog is short it. Let's get to some other stocks out here that are actually in my list of big movers, and we'll take a look at them. We talked about Intrepid Potash, which is off 55%. Another one that is feeling the burn, and we're not talking about Bernie Sanders. We're talking about the burn of lower prices, and that is United Natural Foods Company. Another gap down on this one. These stocks have been kind of in a one-way trip. Another one that's blowing out its previous low, the February 11th low, just had 1 million shares in it. You did have a December 8th low that had 6.4 million shares in it. We've already got that. So on any conservative route, you can say this thing has continued to blow out its lows. Let's go back a little farther and see if there's anything else out here. No, just a little bit of reaction, got back into its first gap down, actually kind of tiny little gaps down, and blew out the lows. Got a couple more emails. We'll get to the rest of it and some more stocks that are moving when we come back.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you like it does me, visit everbank.com/TFNN to find out what they can do for you. Again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. Visit them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile-based scanner in the industry. Powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
And we're going along here. We're off about 3 or 4 points on the S&P cash. There isn't a lot of volume, just 2.5 billion shares as we get, what do we got, 18 minutes to the top of the hour. Kind of light and variable. I don't think that we have a lot of energy on either on the way down or on the way up, but I do think that a lot of stocks have hit resistance level, and all the EV money is probably to the high side. It's probably there. Of course, when we get into tomorrow, I think we're going to see a little bit more fund buying coming in, and that's probably going to tell us a great deal more about the real supply and demand in the market. But I'm going to stand back from the indexes and say that other than them bouncing up a little and down a little bit, I think we can look for a couple of days of sideways action. Dollar index was up a little higher today, but certainly doesn't look like it's moving. 98.22 on the continuous contract for the cash, which is up 7 cents. It was up a little bit more than that. Not a big pullback, not a big pull forward. And I think the Fed and Treasury have kind of what they want, which is a market that is slowing down in volatility, along with the volatility of the dollar and dollar index. Other stocks that have been moving rather swiftly today, as we look at these, Intrepid Potash was the biggest one on the downside. Federal Signal, we talked about that one. OCN, take a quick look at that. OCN's off 33 cents today, or 33% today. Man, this one's blowing through its low. It's going to do it with volume today, too. Certainly looks like it's going to go through that January 20th low where it spiked down to $4.44 on just a little less than 8 million shares. Got 7.4 million shares already. So some of these stocks are already showing some kind of weakness out here. Another stock off Horizon Pharma, we talked about that. Tour. I'm not familiar with this company, so I wanted to look at this one during the show. T-O-U-R. Tour. Continue. Let's find out what this stock does and why they are down here languishing around $10. Online leisure travel services in China. I guess that probably is not going to be any good when your country's headed down the tubes. This one was down, a good 10% today, headed through its lows. Not a high volume stock. Did have a low volume, February 9th low, with just 180,000 shares. It's certainly into that today with almost 1 million shares already. So that also tells you a little bit about other things going on. Halyard Health, and we talked about that. Lumber Liquidators. Meet Me, we talked about. Platform Specialty Products. Let's talk about some winners. Broadsoft, I think we already talked about that. Taser, we talked about that. Signet Jewelers up 10%. SIG, to see if we can make anything out of this one. Man, this thing is headed back up. Oh, pierced its 50% retracement off this big move down that started January 7th when it hit the gap from, what is that, November 24th That gap came down on what, 4.6 million shares, hit it with 3.5 million shares on January 7th. That started the next ABC down. You came down on more energy than the October 30th to December 22nd leg. You had basically your bounce, and 114.52 would have been a 50% bounce. You got to 112.49 today. You got some decent volume out here. What you do have is a confluence area that runs about 117 to 120. So look for this thing to get up there and see if there's any volume. Maybe come back and refill this gap. Sometimes these earnings are just more bearish than the stock actually performs at earnings, and you get a little short squeeze out there. What else do we have? Tribune Media Company, TRCO. Up almost TRCO, up almost 10% today, 9% actually. You really have anything in this one? I guess you got volume going up against its February 1st high, the Tribune Media Company. Not many people buying papers. Basically 600,000 shares on that February 1st high, $33.86. We're back into that candle today with, let's call it 700,000 shares. So you certainly have some volume on the upside today. So far, not a lot of energy off that February 11th low. So maybe at least you have a trading range showing up. What else do we have out here? Glencore, GLENL. Is that it? .L maybe? No, I don't have it. Magellan Health, Links Aries Management, NGR Energy, Meet Me, Platform Specialty Products, doing nothing. Okay, let's get back to the usual suspects. Take a quick look at Amazon, AMZN. I wanted to look at IBM also today. Amazon, we've been looking at this confluence level. It broke back through it. It's kind of hanging out up here today. Volume's a little lighter, but you need this thing to stay above 544.76 to 538.89. It did blow through that, did have volume, but I'm thinking this thing, there's this big gap that it had on the 29th of January, where it gapped down on about 14.7 million shares. My thought is that this thing could get into that double gap there. That takes you up to $600, which is still a fairly nice bounce out of this level on a dollar basis. On a percentage basis, not something I want to get involved in. A $500 stock going to that, probably a lot harder. But is there anything that says this thing's just going to give up and roll over? Nothing yet. You kind of like to see maybe at least a 50% retracement. That would get you to 585.22, and 618 would get you to 611 on Amazon. That, if you could get about that $600 level into that with light volume, you may have the start of the next ABC down on Amazon. I want to look at IBM. A lot of lip and gum flapping on CNBC this morning with Warren Buffett about IBM. Doesn't seem to have done it any good. He flogged it fairly well. I'm writing an article for Friday about IBM and the Tech Insider, and maybe a little bit of things that people do not know. This thing has bounced off the 116.90 low. Energy was not as bad as a lot of people could think. 139.59 looks like the 382, and 146.60 would take you up to the big gap down, and that's more of what I'm kind of thinking on this thing. If it got to 146.60, that would be pretty sweet if you were thinking about shorting this thing for a move down to retest the 116.90 low. You got a lot of volume there. You got a 50% retracement. You got a gap. I don't know. Not enough meat on the bone for me yet. We'll be back in a minute. Give me a call, 877-927-6648. Email me at pat@tfnn.com or post a message in the den.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And had an email asking me what I thought about SanDisk since that deal with Western Digital and Lim blew up last week. And I was going to say, there's certainly some volume. Of course, this thing has just gotten back up to where it started heading down on some fairly decent volume. On the 15th of January, it headed down with about 4.7 million shares. Nice volume today, although it didn't hold the high, and that is already 7.3 million shares today. Normally, when these things kind of come up like this, they'll bounce once, probably two, sometimes 3 times, and then they head back down. So, you know, a little bit of a rejection here, certainly on price, not with a volume, but it's very hard for me to see Samsung continue putting out memory at very inexpensive prices and continue to think that something like a SanDisk or these companies are going to be able to keep margins as high as a lot of people thought that, or wanted them to. So, you know, at best, I would say that this is in a trading range. And of course, this high volume low of January 25th has not been tested. So you have to look at that. It's just, you know, if there was some big mover for demand in memory, but Samsung is really kind of flooding the market for memory, and it becomes problematic. And there's a couple other new Chinese companies also flooding the market with less expensive memory. I saw some new SSD drives out that were like 500 gigabyte drives for a little over $100. By all accounts, they're okay. But still problematic. Other questions out here is LinkedIn, LNKD. If you want me to look at something, of course, you can call or email me as these folks did. Is there anything going on in LinkedIn yet other than this bounce? The answer is no. And of course, anytime something blows apart this horribly, the idea is that, of course, it's going to come back and fill this gap. But you need it to go back and test and consolidate out before I think it's going to do anything significant. And of course, when you get blown apart this bad, I don't think it happens in weeks. I think it happens in months, if it can even hold the 98.25 when it comes back down. A lot of people were all over this in Silicon Valley last week, saying that they don't have a chance to hold up against Facebook now that Facebook is getting in LinkedIn's territory. I do not know that for a fact. I do think that there is a problem that LinkedIn has that Facebook doesn't have, and that is the way that they get paid. Basically, they are headhunters. They get paid by companies that are looking for people with specific skill sets. And when there aren't a lot of people hiring, this thing can go down rather quickly. When there are a lot of people hiring, this thing can go up very quickly. So you're probably going to need a market in business where a lot of people with high skill sets and cross skills, we'll say somebody that's both a programmer and a physicist, or a programmer and a statistician, or somebody that has multiple disciplines in technology fields. That's where LinkedIn really is good at selling that data off based on your profiles and some of the things that you do behind the curtain. But right now, not a lot of people using LinkedIn because there's not a lot of people getting in to really high-end jobs, and it becomes problematic. I would wait until you probably see the S&P bottom before thinking that LinkedIn is going to have a big run. In the meantime, hang on for the Tom O'Brien Show for the next 2 hours. And always sell when you can, not when you have to. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
You're watching Tiger TV.